Where were you in 2012 when the room got quieter but the screens got louder? And why do so many teens say the loneliness never left? Psychologist Twenge marks that year as a turning point. And the curve she tracked hasn't simply flattened with time. It keeps echoing into today's bedrooms, classrooms, and lunch tables. Since 2012, reports of sadness, anxiety, and sleep disruption have climbed alongside the rise of always-on smartphones, algorithmic feeds, and the new economy of comparison. Have you felt this in your own house? The blue glow at midnight? The sudden silence after a laugh? The way a single notification can pull a teenager out of the room without their feet moving? Stay with me, because what we're about to connect may surprise you. Here's the question that matters right now. Where does your family sit on the safeguard scale of loneliness and anxiety? This isn't about blaming a device. It's about understanding how design shifts. Push notifications, infinite scroll, streaks, short-form video, intersect with fragile sleep, fear of missing out, and the social math of likes. Since that pivot, screen time stopped being an activity and became an atmosphere. Social media turned from a scrapbook into a slot machine. The feed learned your child faster than you did, and the cost showed up in mood, attention, and rest. If any of this rings familiar, you're not imagining it. And if it doesn't, good. What you'll hear next could keep it that way. We'll use safeguard not as a slogan, but as a lens. How to protect attention, rebuild face-to-face belonging, and restore healthy sleep in a world that never stops refreshing. Think of this as a time map from 2012 to now. Gen Z entering high school with a phone in hand, Gen Alpha learning to swipe before they can ride a bike. So you can see what changed in the ecosystem and what you can change at home. Have you ever watched a teen laugh at something on a screen, then look emptier when it ends? That contrast is a compass. It points to where the work is. Let's turn the phone over, literally and figuratively, and trace the design decisions that bent the curve, then the simple, human counter-moves that bend it back. If any of this feels uncomfortably familiar, the midnight glow, the laugh that fades too fast, name it so it doesn't keep naming you. Drop a single line in the comments that starts with, "On our safeguard scale, we're at," and finish it with a word or number that fits your home. That small sentence becomes a handrail for the next parent who arrives here at 1 a.m. looking for direction. When you tap like, the platform reads it as a flare. More families need this map, and it helps this conversation reach the rooms where the blue light never seems to turn off. And if you subscribe, it simply makes sure the next practical step lands where you'll actually see it, instead of getting buried under another wave of noise. None of that is vanity. It's how we turn concern into community and keep building this safeguard together. Hold that thought. The moment the phone wins the room without moving an inch. Because in a second, we're going to trace how specific design choices taught the brain to trade sleep and belonging for streaks and scrolls, and how a few small counter moves at home can start bending the curve back in your favor. The years 2010 to 2014 were the kit that changed the game, and most of us didn't notice because the upgrades arrived wrapped as convenience and connection. Affordable, smartphones slipped into nearly every pocket, and 4G turned waiting into scrolling. Push notifications became the default, not a feature you opted into, but a drum that called you back day and night. Group chats multiplied so fast that the school day followed kids home, then under the covers. Read receipts and typing bubbles made silence feel like rejection and response feel like oxygen. Front-facing cameras and filters reframed the mirror. Instead of asking, "How do I feel?" Teens learned to ask, "How do I appear?" Each tiny design choice felt harmless in isolation. Yet together, they shifted the nervous system's baseline from rest to readiness. If you remember that era as the moment dinner tables grew a blue halo and bedrooms gained a second heartbeat, you're hearing the same echo John Twenge mapped, an inflection that begins around 2012 and keeps resonating in today's data. What changed under the hood wasn't only culture, it was timing. Notifications broke time into fragments, so attention never cooled. The brain's reward circuitry, built for face-to-face cues, started caching micropayments from badges and buzzes. That intermittent reinforcement pattern is small, but potent. A variable payout that keeps you checking just once more. Meanwhile, blue light at night nudged melatonin off schedule, carving little dents into sleep architecture. 10 minutes late to sleep becomes 30, then an hour, and the next afternoon a teen can't tell boredom from burnout. Inside that fog, social. Comparison sharpened. Filters raised the floor for presentability. A photo was no longer a memory, but a proposal. Teens learned to edit the pitch before they spoke the feeling, and the quiet afterward sometimes tasted like failure. None of this declares a single device the villain. It's context, not a courtroom. But in those years, a pattern set in. Screen time became an atmosphere, and the atmosphere, like weather, decides which seeds sprout. You could watch the ripple at school. Lunch tables grew quieter as inside jokes migrated to DMs. After-school bus rides became small theaters of curating and approving. A missed notification meant missing the moment entirely. Cognitive load rose as kids tracked multiple streams. Classwork, team chats, family texts, friend drama, without a shore to stand on. Even joy changed shape. Laughter arrived faster and left sooner, because the next clip was already loading. Parents reported a new paradox at home: proximity without presence. A child sat 3 feet away, yet felt 2 rooms distant. And when adults tried to join the platform to help, the dynamic often intensified. The house gained another stream instead of recovering a conversation. Around 2012, many families felt the floor tilt, and teens told us with their bodies before they told us with words. Shorter sleep, flatter affect, edgier Sunday nights. Here's the quiet truth. The kit did exactly what it was designed to do: remove friction. But friction is where relationships grip. Without small delays, we lost natural breathers that reset the prefrontal cortex and let empathy catch up. The fix won't be nostalgia or tech panic. It will be design in the other direction. Deliberate friction placed where biology needs it. Safeguard is that lens. Not a ban, a balance. Phones can live on the hallway dock so bedrooms can live again. Group chats can mute after homework so the nervous system can off-ramp. A front camera can point outward to a skill being learned, a thing being built. So, self-worth grows from action instead of angles. Even tiny rituals, morning sunlight on the retina, protein at breakfast, a 5-minute analog task, give circadian rhythm and executive function something solid to stand on. I want to peel back one more layer, because the next shift changes the water even more. When feeds stop merely displaying and start deciding. What shows first? What never appears? What keeps you looping? Before we open that box, tell me in one honest line where this early 2010s snapshot met your family. Right? We remember the switch, or 2012 changed our nights. Your sentence might be the compass another parent needs as we trace how the design choices that followed bent the curve, and how simple, human counter moves begin to bend it back. Between 2015 and 2018, the feed stopped being a timeline and became a tide, and the tide learned your child. Posts once arrived in the order friends wrote them. Then the ranking engine took the wheel. Most relevant meant most likely to keep you here. In 2016, Instagram flipped from chronological to algorithmic, and almost overnight, dwell time replaced date as the organizing principle. Stories made the moment evaporate in 24 hours. Streaks turned friendship into a counter you must maintain, and autoplay. Plus infinite scroll removed the last friction that used to say, pause. What looked like convenience was actually a course correction. Away from completion and toward continuation. Teens didn't finish the feed. The feed. Finish the teens' free time? Your attention is valuable here. If you'd like, you can even jot this down so you won't forget. What a platform measures is what it multiplies. When watch time, session length, and return frequency become the North Star, design follows. Notifications nudge at just the right lull, thumbnails become tiny billboards, short-form video learns to front-load faces and motion within a second, and the loop rewards lingering with more of the same. That's why, almost, constant use explodes in this window. The system is literally scoring how long it can hold a human nervous system. None of this means one app caused depression. It means that by 2018, the environment behaved like a casino. Intermittent rewards, near misses, and no clocks on the wall. Comparison and FOMO sharpen under these rules. A chronological feed showed you what friends posted. An algorithmic feed shows you the most performant version of friendship. Highlight reels stacked without the boring. Middle. Stories intensify it because the countdown clock whispers, "You'll miss this if you blink." Streaks convert care into compliance. Break a chain, and you feel like you broke a bond. Metrics disguise themselves as mirrors, likes, views, watch count. The brain tries to read safety from numbers and can't, so it keeps checking for a feeling that never arrives. Social rank becomes ambient, like weather. Always there, hard to ignore, exhausting to argue with. Sleep starts paying the bill first. Autoplay steals 10 minutes, then 20. Blue light delays melatonin. The one more that promised laughter delivers emptier eyes. Teens lie in bed with cognitive load still humming. Homework, group chat, the crush's story, tomorrow's test. While the limbic system rehearses "what did I miss?" instead of "where do I belong?" Parents notice a new pattern. The house goes quiet, but rest doesn't happen. Morning brings a body that feels heavy and a mind that feels thin. In that state, even small stressors spike higher, and face-to-face moments lose to the certainty of the next clip. The algorithm is not a villain. It's a very efficient river. But it flows toward retention, not restoration. There's another layer most families feel but rarely name. Algorithmic feeds learn dwell signatures, the pause on a face, the replay of a trick shot, the comment you almost typed. The system infers mood from micro-behavior and serves it back, building a tunnel that looks like a window. That personalization can soothe for a moment and isolate across weeks because the feed will not accidentally show the awkward, nourishing middle of real life. Long practice, average days, small repairs. The more the screen curates, the more real experience looks slow, and slow starts to feel wrong. Meanwhile, executive function, the brain's planner and filter, gets fewer reps at saying no, stopping, waiting, redirecting. A teenager who never gets to finish a thought without a ping starts believing thoughts shouldn't take that long. What do we do with that? We refuse to make it a morality tale and treat it like environmental design. The moment you see the logic, optimize watch time, remove friction, reward return, the counter moves become tangible. Add humane friction where biology needs it. Swap metrics for mentorship. Reintroduce endings so the brain relearns closure. We'll map those moves step by step. But first, it's worth tracing how this shift set the stage for today's always on mood, because naming the water is how you start to swim differently. If a single sentence here matched your home, name it in one human line below. Write, "Algorithm took the wheel," or "Autoplay stole our midnight." Your comment might be the breadcrumb another parent follows as we open the hood on what these features taught the brain about attention, belonging, and sleep, and how small, steady changes can begin to bend the curve back. Your attention is crucial here. It really matters, because what happens in the bedroom happens in the brain, and the story the brain learns at night is the story it performs by day. Start with sleep. The body runs on a circadian rhythm that wants darkness, regularity, and quiet ramps into rest. A phone in the room rewrites that script. Blue light delays melatonin. Notifications fracture sleep architecture, so the brain skims the surface instead of diving into slow wave and REM. Miss enough deep cycles and the prefrontal cortex, the planner, the brake. Pedal shows up tired. Tired brakes mean sharper mood swings, thinner patience, and more catastrophic thinking. The next day, I forgot my notebook doesn't feel like a small problem. It feels like I am a small person. That's not character. That's biology running on low battery. Now fold in social comparison. The nervous system is built to read faces at conversational distance. It asks for eye contact, shared laughter, a shoulder squeeze, proof of belonging. The feed answers with numbers. Hearts, views, streaks pretend to be connection, but the body can't metabolize metrics. So the brain keeps checking, looking for a feeling the counter can't deliver. The default mode network spins up at night to process the day. With a phone on the pillow, it processes a highlight reel of other people's best angles. The gap between a curated story and an ordinary room feels like failure, and rumination grows where rest should. Put simply, the body asks for face-to-face and gets a number. Attention. Fragments next. Notifications teach the brain to expect interruption, so working memory never settles long enough to build a thought with joints and muscle. We call it attentional residue. Part of you stays in the last ping, while another part tries to care about the math problem or the conversation at dinner. Over weeks, this looks like lazy from the outside and feels like broken on the inside. It isn't either. It's a nervous system practicing microflights instead of focus. Executive function needs stretches of monotask work, boring on purpose, to get strong again. Then there's the intermittent reward loop. Dopamine isn't evil. It's a mail carrier. But variable ratio payouts? Sometimes a big laugh, sometimes nothing, sometimes something almost great. Turn checking into compulsion. Autoplay and infinite scroll remove the natural endings that used to help the brain say, "We're done." Without endings, there is no exhale, and without the exhale, anxiety leaks into bedtime. Parents often describe it as proximity without presence. A teen on the couch, eyes flicking, soul elsewhere. Public health advisories have started naming this pattern out loud. Heavy social media exposure is linked to risks for anxiety, sleep problems, and depressive symptoms, and families should use simple guardrails. That's not moral panic, it's harm reduction. In our language, it's safeguard. Think design in the other direction. Add the friction biology needs. A hallway dock, so the bedroom can be a tawatiay, bedroom. A digital sunset 30 minutes before lights out, so melatonin can rise. Morning sunlight on the retina to reset the clock. Protein at breakfast to steady glucose and attention. Swap metrics for mentorship. One voice note from a trusted adult beats 50 silent likes. Replace endless inputs with closure. A timer, a last clip, a book on the nightstand that actually ends. Your attention is crucial here, it's essential, because the brain learns from whatever it repeats. If a home repeats, ping sleep ping, the body will memorize hypervigilance. If a home repeats dark dim red sleep, the body will memorize calm. Teenagers feel the difference and so do parents. The room gets warmer, The jokes get longer, the fights get shorter. None of this blames the device. It restores a human cadence that tech accidentally erased. And once you hear that cadence, you can start conducting. Small cues that tell the nervous system, you're safe, you belong, it's time to rest. In a moment, we'll map the exact levers, how to place tiny, humane speed bumps at the biological choke points so attention returns and sleep deepens. Before we do, say it in one honest line so another family can find their way. Comment, face over number, or lights out, eyes up. Here's where we need clear eyes and steady hands. The data since 2012 show a strong association between heavy social media use and worsening indicators, more reported sadness, anxiety, sleep disruption, especially among teens. But an association isn't the same thing as a verdict. Studies differ in method. Many are cross-sectional, a snapshot in time. Some are longitudinal, watching change unfold. A few are natural experiments, policy or platform shifts. Results converge on a pattern that matters for families, even while scientists debate mechanisms and thresholds. The more hours, the more risk, and the risk concentrates when use displaces sleep, face-to-face belonging, and movement. The Centers for Disease Control track the trend. Lines. Pew Research tracks who is online, how often, and where attention pools. Put those pictures together and you get a practical translation. The digital water got deeper, colder, and faster, and teens with less sleep or weaker offline anchors feel it first. This point is very important for you to be aware of how things actually happen, because recognizing how risk moves lets you move first. Scientists argue about causality the way mechanics argue about which part is failing. Parents need the lane markers that reduce crashes tonight. Here's what the debate has clarified. First, dose matters. Almost constant use correlates more strongly with low mood than light, intentional use. Second, timing matters. Late-night scrolling predicts shorter sleep, and shorter sleep predicts next-day irritability and rumination. Third, content and context matter. Upward social comparison and cyber conflict amplify harm. Creative production, mentoring, and tight friend circles buffer it. Fourth, vulnerability matters. Girls who live in comparison-heavy spaces and teens already wrestling with anxiety appear to carry more of the load. None of that proves a single cause. All of it argues for prudent limits that protect biology and belonging. Think of it like traffic engineering. You don't wait for absolute proof that a curve causes wrecks before you add a guardrail. You look at the skid marks and install one. That's where reputable advisories have landed. Prudent mitigation. Protect sleep, with a hallway dock and a digital sunset. Protect attention with scheduled silent hours where homework and conversation can actually breathe. Protect belonging with predictable offline rituals, a team, a club, a faith group, a family night. So the nervous system learns safety from human faces, not metrics. Delay or stage features by age and maturity. Private accounts first, limited DMs, no phone in the bedroom, parent-guided onboarding rather than good luck. Supervision isn't surveillance, it's coaching at the edge of the pool until the swimmer has the strokes. Researchers will keep refining the model. Is it displacement? Less sleep? Less play? Is it comparison? Highlight reels raising the emotional cost of being average? Is it reward loops? Variable dopamine keeping the check, check, check cycle alive? The answer is probably yes, in different doses, for different kids. What helps families is simpler. Change the inputs you control and restore the outputs that heal. Sleep. Architecture, executive function, real-world competence, felt belonging. In that frame, safeguard is not culture war code, it's harm reduction for attention and mood. Notice how this stance lowers the temperature. You don't have to prove a platform caused anything to justify a boundary that improves everything. A teen who sleeps an extra 45 minutes will feel different tomorrow, whether or not the feed was to blame. A teen who hears, "I see you, not your numbers," 3 times a week from real people, will metabolize stress differently whether or not a post goes viral. And a teen who practices stopping, on purpose, will slowly rebuild the muscle that infinite scroll tried to atrophy. Mechanism debates will keep publishing. In your house, rhythm wins. Let me widen the lens once more, because this could change the week ahead. When you treat phones as environmental design rather than morality plays, conversations shift from good versus bad to what protects sleep, attention, and belonging here. That language invites teens to co-author rules they can keep. It turns limits into lanes, not punishments. It also gives you a way to iterate. If a boundary doesn't help after 2 weeks, adjust the lever, not the love. If a line in this landed, if you felt the difference between proof and prudence, leave one human marker below like guardrails before proof. Or sleep first, then screens. Your sentence might be the nudge another parent needs as we turn this map into specific, nightly moves that bend the curve back toward calm. If proof and prudence set the stage, design writes the script. So let's turn this into moves a family can actually run. Safeguard 2025 isn't a slogan, it's a living protocol with 3 rhythms that protect biology and belonging. First, sleep and screens. Bedrooms are for rest, not refresh. Create a hallway dock where every phone sleeps. Pair it with a digital sunset. 30 to 60 minutes before lights out, devices down, lamps dim, voices softer. Swap the last. Scroll for a short analog, wind down. Shower, stretch. 3 pages of a paper book. Blue light steps back, melatonin steps forward, and sleep architecture gets room to rebuild. Mornings start with sunlight on the eyes, by a window or a quick step outside, a glass of water and protein at breakfast to steady glucose and attention. Alarms live off the phone, cheap clock on the nightstand. Homework that truly requires a device runs in single-purpose mode. 1 assignment, 1 browser, notifications, off. If a teen pushes back, what if someone needs me? Offer a narrow lane. Emergency calls only, do not disturb otherwise. You're not policing, you're protecting the brake pedal the day needs. Second, community and belonging. Loneliness is not just the absence of people. It's the absence of predictable faces and shared effort. Anchor 2 offline circles a week. Team practice, youth club, faith group, music, volunteer shift, and treat them like dentist appointments, non-negotiable, because mental health is dentistry for the soul. Add a micro-ritual at home that doesn't feel like therapy. A nightly 10-minute walk after dishes, a Saturday pancake station he runs, a midweek board game where losing is normal and laughing is mandatory. Build a circle of good men and women around your teen, coach, teacher, neighbor, people who know his name and see his effort. The brain reads safety from tone of voice and eye contact. Belonging isn't abstract, it's audible. Make it measurable with tiny sentences. What strength did you see today? 1 line from a real person outperforms 50 silent hearts. Third, feed diet. Think of the feed like food, timing, portion, ingredients. Set 2 windows a day when social apps are open, and outside those windows they're asleep. No grazing. Turn off push notifications platform-wide, then add back only what serves real life. Messages from family, rides, school. Mute accounts that spike envy or conflict. Follow accounts that spark skill, humor, service, or awe. Once a week, do a contact audit together. Who lifts you? Who drains you? What changes by 1% this week? Then require 1 tactile daily activity. Hands on wood, pen, keys, or strings. When dopamine has a physical outlet, it stops begging the slot machine. Tape a simple receipt to a corkboard. A photo of the omelet, a sketch, a finished chord progression. It's not bragging, it's biofeedback. This point is very important for you to understand how change actually happens, because catching it will change the rhythm of your house. Boundaries work when they live on the calendar, not just in the lecture. So assign homes for each lever: sleep and screens, hallway dock, digital sunset, paper book on the pillow, sunlight tomorrow. Community and belonging. Tuesday practice, Thursday youth, Sunday call with a mentor, 10-minute walk after dinner, feed diet, 2 app windows, say 4 to 4:30 p.m. and 7 to 7:30 p.m., no push, weekly audit, 1 tactile task by 8 p.m. Name the why out loud, so teens hear the respect beneath the rule. We're funding your executive function and your mood tomorrow. You're doing harm reduction, not moral theater. Keep the language human. Instead of "you're addicted," try "your brain is learning a loop that steals sleep." Instead of "no more phone," try "phones sleep in the hall so you can sleep in your bed." Instead of "get off social," try 2 windows. After that, life gets the room. When a boundary fails, adjust the lever, not the love. Shorter windows, earlier sunset, a different in-person circle. Small, steady changes beat heroic bursts. You'll know the protocol is landing when ordinary moments feel different. The laugh after dinner lasts longer. Morning faces look less flat. Homework ends with a period instead of a ping. A teen tells you who they muted and why. The house acquires a new sound at night. Pages turning. None of this requires perfection. It requires a cadence the nervous system can trust. In a moment, we'll fit these levers into a week that holds even when life gets loud. So the routine survives late games, exams, and mood weather. Before we map that rhythm, leave one honest marker below to help another parent find their first step. Write docked and dimmed, real circles, real sleep, or 2 windows, 1 craft. Your line can become the quiet switch that turns a house back toward calm. Picture that last frame with me. The hallway is dark, the phone's glow finally fades at the charging dock, and in the bedroom, the breathing evens out. 2 slow inhales, 2 slow exhales, like a house remembering how to rest. That's what we've been building toward. Without safeguard, each generation inherits the last fracture. With safeguard, the same line becomes a framework strong enough to hold real sleep, real attention, and real belonging. If this walkthrough gave you something you can use, tap like. It's the simplest way to tell the platform, send this map to the next family that needs it. And if you want the next set of practical steps to land where you'll actually see them, subscribe. Not as a badge, but as a quiet reminder that you're not doing this alone. Let me know you made it to the end by dropping "timeline scene" in the comments. And if you want, name 1 tiny lever you'll try tonight. Your line becomes a breadcrumb another parent can follow at 1 a.m. There's a video right here that complements this one. Click it and keep going with me there.